the desert child who rose beyond fortune. He was never meant to be seen by the world, yet the world could never look away. His story began in silence, in a place where destiny moved like the shifting dunes. Quiet, invisible, unstoppable. And long before wealth wrapped itself around his name, something far more powerful shaped him. To understand why his rise matters today, we need to look past the gold, the palaces, and the legends whispered in private halls. Because behind every modern empire stands a human story, fragile, uncertain, and born from moments that could have easily gone another way. His journey shows how luxury is never the beginning, only the result. And in a world fascinated by excess, his path reveals something deeper, the mindset that builds an empire long before the world notices. He was born far from the city skylines that now glow with his family's legacy. In those early years, the desert was his mentor, teaching patience, silence, and the strange comfort of vast emptiness. People say he grew up surrounded by privilege, but the truth is simpler. He grew up surrounded by expectations, not of wealth, but of identity, not of ownership, but of honor. The first turning point came quietly, a moment small enough to ignore, yet strong enough to change the direction of his life. He watched his father negotiate a crisis with calm strength, offering generosity where others would have demanded power. That day, he saw something he never forgot. True influence doesn't shout, it whispers. And when it whispers, entire worlds listen. He carried that lesson with him as he moved into adolescence, stepping into rooms where every glance carried meaning. The world around him was expanding, yet he understood that real authority was not granted by lineage alone. It had to be earned through intention, awareness, and restraint. While others competed for proximity to power, he observed what power required: discipline, clarity, and a steady hand during moments of uncertainty. As the years unfolded, he began noticing the contrast between the traditions he was raised with and the rapidly changing world beyond his borders. Wealth was no longer quiet. Luxury had become a language spoken loudly through architecture, innovation, and spectacle. Yet he felt a growing tension within himself. How does one honor the old world while shaping the new? How does a young heir protect a legacy without being trapped by it? This internal conflict sharpened when he was introduced to global leaders, entrepreneurs, and advisors. Their ambitions were fierce, but their values often clashed with the principles he had been taught. He realized the world admired wealth, but misunderstood responsibility. To them, he was a symbol. To himself, he was a student still learning the weight of expectation. Then came an invitation that changed everything. A foreign investor sought to form an alliance that promised prestige, expansion, and influence on a scale few could imagine. The offer dazzled everyone around him, but something felt wrong. The details were immaculate, the projections flawless, yet an unease settled in his chest. And beneath the celebration, he sensed a danger that no one else seemed willing to confront. The more he examined the proposal, the more the cracks revealed themselves. It wasn't just a business deal. It was a quiet attempt to redirect the future of his family's influence. The investor's charm masked intentions that could dismantle decades of careful stewardship. But confronting such a threat required more than suspicion. It required courage, precision, and a willingness to stand alone against the momentum of those convinced they were chasing opportunity. As the pressure built, he found himself walking a delicate line between loyalty and foresight. Trusted advisors urged him to accept the deal, framing it as a leap into a new era. Dissent, they said, would appear timid, unambitious, outdated. Yet in the solitude of night, he revisited the lessons of his childhood. The desert's patience, his father's quiet authority, the whisper of true influence. He realized that silence can be a shield, but it can also be a warning. Rumors soon surfaced that the investor was simultaneously negotiating with rival families. What had seemed like partnership now resembled a hidden contest, a power play disguised as collaboration. The young heir understood that accepting the offer would not expand their empire, it would fracture it. Still, refusing it meant challenging not only the outsider but his own circle, many of whom were eager for progress measured strictly in numbers and headlines. The conflict sharpened when a private report confirmed his fears. The investor intended to leverage their name to gain control of assets far beyond the agreement's scope. The trap was elegant, almost invisible, and it was closing fast. His world tightened. Allies questioned his hesitation. Opponents whispered that he lacked the instinct to lead. Every step he took was watched, weighed, interpreted. But beneath the scrutiny, a quiet resolve began to grow. He realized this wasn't just about a contract. It was a test of his judgment, his identity, and his ability to protect a legacy that was never meant to be traded for glittering promises. The decision he would make next had the power to alter everything. His family's future, his role within it, and the unseen balance of influence that stretched far beyond the palace walls. He called for a final meeting, one that would gather every advisor, every stakeholder, and the investor himself. The room glowed with confidence from those who believed the deal was already won. Yet, when he entered, the atmosphere shifted. He carried no notes, no entourage, only certainty shaped by nights of reflection and memories carved into him long before wealth ever mattered. He began by acknowledging the ambition behind the proposal. Then, with calm precision, he revealed the layers no one else had seen. The hidden clauses, the conflicting negotiations, the subtle mechanisms designed to siphon influence away from his family's control. Each revelation struck the room like a slow, steady drumbeat. What had seemed like opportunity now unfolded as a quiet takeover dressed in elegance. The investors' smile faded. Advisors exchanged uneasy glances. Some felt betrayed by their own haste. Others wondered how they had missed what the young heir had uncovered. But he did not gloat. He simply stepped into the authority he had once questioned, showing them that leadership is not defined by age or applause. It is defined by the courage to protect what others do not yet understand. The climax came when he closed the folder and said the words no one expected. The deal was rejected permanently, without negotiation. Silence followed, long, heavy, undeniable. In that moment, he was no longer the uncertain boy shaped by desert winds. He was a guardian of legacy, unshaken by glitter or promise. In the days that followed, voices softened. Critics reconsidered. And slowly, the truth emerged. He had saved them from a future none of them had foreseen. The empire remained intact, not because of walls or wealth, but because a young man understood the value of saying no when the world demanded yes. His story lives quietly within the golden corridors of modern luxury, a reminder that the strongest foundations are not built from fortune, but from clarity, instinct, and the strength to stand alone when the moment demands it. And though the world may celebrate excess, the real power lies in the unseen decisions that preserve what truly matters. Subscribe to join the journey.